Hello everybody. So I wanted to try doing a video instead of just typing and writing random comments that nobody sees. Maybe audio is better. I don't have a webcam, so I'm not going to do that. But um, let's see what I can do. What should we talk about today? I have my notes for all these things I've been studying. Let me find something good here. And I just wanted to come on here and talk and let everyone hear my voice. I know that I'm quite normal. I'm not crazy. Although I'm sure I sound a little crazy from some of my posts. But I've been in isolation for quite a while. And I've been banned off of a lot of social media and censored. My two Twitter or X accounts were both banned at one point, and then my Facebook, I had two accounts on Facebook, and I could not get in them. It just would never send me the email, so I felt like I was complaining and saying, hey, I can't get in my email, because I had it locked. And I think they didn't want me on here. But just a couple weeks ago, I broke through. I got back on. So now I am here. I guess let's talk about the missing 165 years in the revelation of the kingdom era. I think that's pretty important. So, the current Hebrew calendar, the Seder Olam Rabbah, compiled by Rabbi Jose ben Halafta in the 2nd century CE, is the traditional Judaic calendar, but it compresses the Persian period of exile by 165 years, which was noticed by a lot of scholars like Sir Isaac Newton. And so this was pre-Dead Sea Scrolls, but then we found the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it confirmed it, because there's your 165 years that were missing. So the date is actually 5950 AM, 5,950 days since the creation of the world. I don't know if it's not. It might not be the actual creation of the world, but the creation of civilization as we know it. Obviously, there was other civilizations before that, but for this present calendar and cycle and age is what it's about. But then you have Enoch, who also mentioned these days. A day to the Lord is 1,000 years. And Enoch mentioned the 6 days, and then the 7th would be a millennial reign of the kingdom, when the kingdom comes. So would be like the millennial reign of Christ, the Messiah, which would start in 50 years. But Christ came 2,000 years ago, at the end of the age of Taurus, I think, and at the beginning of the age of Pisces. So now we're at the end of the age of Pisces, and we're beginning Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, which is significant because his title is the morning star. If you look in Revelation, the morning star comes just before the dawn of the new age, and that's when he came. That's why the Essene Brotherhood knew exactly when he was coming, because it all lines up to prophecy. So like right now, 5950, 2,000 years later, the morning star is to come again. A man is going to reveal all these prophecies, and he's going to claim the title, which technically that's what I'm doing right now. and you're welcome to wrestle me for it. But it's all philosophical and very interesting. But then we have more confirmations of this. We have the Epistle of Barnabas, I've read all the books in the Bible and all the apocryphal text and the Nag Hammadi and all mythological stories and stuff. I'm really into this, as you can tell. Just something I enjoy to do because it's really cool and fascinating, especially when you find all these little clues and hints that kind of destroy the narrative. But anyway, Barnabas says he finished in 6 days. This signifies that the Lord will finish all things in 6,000 years. For a day is 1,000 years with him, and as he rested on the 7th day, so shall we be made perfect in the 7th millennium. For the 7th millennium is the rest of the Sabbath. So the Sabbath age, that's the end. It'll be the end of the church age and the beginning of a new age, the age of Aquarius, and the millennial reign of Christ, the 1,000-year reign of Christ. So something else to keep in mind is the Jews are still using a 354-day calendar, which is it doesn't work out too well for them. They constantly have to, every year they have to do a bunch of math and look at the moon and all this stuff and try to figure out when all their feast days are going to be. But the Essenes used the 364-day calendar, which is, and they also had ways to, just like the Gregorian, you have to have leap years and stuff like that, or leap weeks, but the Essenes had their own system too, but their system works a lot better than the current Jewish one, the 354. Obviously, they fall behind 10 days every year, and then they have to add a 13th month every 3rd year or 4th year. So it's really complicated. But the Essenes, their days always match up. So it's a much better system. And it says in Jubilees and in Enoch and there's another text. Let's see. Isaiah. Yes, Isaiah. All these books all say the same thing, that they would corrupt the calendar and they would lose track of the times and the seasons. And so we're missing 165 years, which would, put us way off. It's not correct. And it lines up with, the zodiac, because we're entering the age of Aquarius now, not in 300 years or 250. So it's just a really interesting thing. There's a calendar at dsscalendar.org you can look at. It has the Essene Dead Sea Scroll calendar. It confirms all these things. So you can check it out. You'll know that I'm not just making all this up. You can look at the Epistle of Barnabas, chapter 15. He explains the whole thing. Enoch explains it in 1st Enoch. The book of Jubilees explains it, and Isaiah also explains it. He says that they would, I'll read the quote. For they have forsaken the true reckoning of the Lord and established their own month of vanity, for the sake of their festivals and their idols, and their hearts are far from me, and they have forgotten the times that were appointed. So he said that their present feasts and festivals and Sabbaths were not acceptable to God, is what Isaiah is saying. Because our God is God of truth, and he doesn't accept lies and manipulation. So anyway, it's an interesting thing to look into and think about, and to know that we are at the end of the age of Pisces and now entering the age of Aquarius, the water carrier. And this is all really symbolic. If you understand Jewish mysticism and astrology, or Hebrew, but even our modern astrologers understand these things. They could probably, I'm not really that big into astrology. I'm more into astrology, or astronomy, I should say, because it's a way that we can verify time periods and understand history better. But still, astrology there's some interesting things in it that are significant to the age of Aquarius, the symbolism of the water carrier. But anyway, I'm going to stop this video here, and I'll do a test and see if anyone actually sees it, because I'm still kind of being censored pretty bad. I had a lot of people wish me happy birthday, but then like all my posts nobody can really see. Maybe 1 or 2, 3 people see it. So I mean, on Facebook, it's nice that they let you write out as much as you want, but then they kind of put us all in echo chambers to keep us separated and isolated. So it's kind of annoying. None of our social media is very good, and obviously the media, the mass media, the corporations, the news media is all very corrupt, very ignorant. All of our religions are fake. Unfortunately, they'll never look into any of this because they have really bad cognitive dissonance. You know, they think that they just believe the lies and they don't question it, and they don't even read their own books. So, you know, it's just obvious to anyone who reads and studies with an open mind. And that's why, you know, the sages and Christ said you have to become like a child again. You have to you have to discard your old beliefs, because I mean, you have to be able to. You can't just hold on to tradition just because it's tradition. You have to have solid foundation. And that's your mind. You're building the truth. You have to build off truth, which is a solid foundation. And if you build off lies, and everything you believe is a lie, then one day you're just going to be washed away with the tides, and you might not be able to handle it once you realize that everything you ever believed is a lie. So it's better to get it done now. And you know, the more truth you have, the more you'll gain, because you can build off that foundation. But the less that you have, even, you know, that will be taken away from you. You'll be left with nothing, because all you believed was lies, and you'll know nothing. So these are all teachings of Christ to think about. He was a sage and philosopher and a great teacher, the Son of God, the morning star, you know. But there's a whole lot to it. But again, I'll end that as the conclusion, and we'll see if anyone actually listens to this. But have a good night and a good day, or if you're watching this in the day.